So this step number 5 is what I call our 3 words. And if you watch any of my YouTube videos, I always do this at the end of a video when I do the entertaining hypnosis stuff, because I show you how funny it can be, but I also show you how powerful it can be as well. And every time I work with someone, I use 3 words because I can abbreviate it into a little acronym. And there's different things. For me, my 3 words are the alphabet, ABC, abundant, brave, and confident. That is what I run my mantra in my mind. So once we've done step 5 and we've visualized ourselves doing this solution, we need to sort of use this as a mantra. Is anyone familiar with what mantras are? Yeah? So we repeat a mantra to ourselves. In Buddhism, they're massive on this. They do a lot of chanting. And I've got a mantra on my wrist. And it's all about sort of creating something so many times that our mind just accepts it to be true. If I say to myself enough times, I am stupid, 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 eventually my mind goes, yeah, Max, you are stupid. And you know, people talk about affirmations, and it's like, I can say, I am rich, I am abundant, I am wealthy. It's like, yeah, but if you just sit on the sofa and you don't do anything, well, nothing's going to happen. And don't get me wrong, I'm a massive optimist, and I generally thought, has anyone read the book The Secret about law of attraction? Yeah? When I first read that, I generally thought, if I think about being a millionaire, I'll be a millionaire. I was like, sweet. I was like, I quit my job, I dropped out of college. Yeah, 3 months to the end of a qualification, a plumbing qualification, I dropped out. I was like, no, I'm going to be a millionaire. I was so sure of it, and it didn't happen. So I was a bit pissed off at the time. But I gained to realise that it's not just about what we think, because you can go into a garden and shout, there's no weeds in the garden. But if I don't actively go out and pick out these weeds, the weeds are going to grow. They're not just going to be like, oh, Max said there's no weeds. I'm still, I'm good. Or, for whatever, I don't know, I believe miracles can happen in life, and you could chant there's no weeds, and then someone could walk past and go, oh, I'm doing free garden inspections, let me take out the weeds. Like, that's possible, but some action needs to be put in place. So I always say, these are our 3 words. Step number 5 is creating our 3 words. And just think to yourself now, what are 3 words that you would like to live by? If you were going to, let's say you were going to die tomorrow, and there was people talking at your funeral, and they were saying, I'll tell you what, I remember this person. I remember Max from feeling so abundant every day, just having such abundant thoughts to everyone, thinking that there's more than enough for everyone in this world. He was so brave. He did things that were courageous. He sort of acted on things even though he was scared. And he was a confident person. And if you can have those 3 words, just think about that to yourself. And you don't have to think about it right now. Like, really have a think about this. What 3 words do you want to be known for? You don't have to tell anyone. You can just tell yourself. But when you realize that you have 3 words for yourself, you can start to just act to yourself. Am I acting from abundance today? Am I acting from bravery? Am I acting as a confident person? This is how I always rationalize when I'm doing something. I could have come here today and sat and thought, oh, I haven't done an event this big before. Or, oh, I've done an event way bigger than this. It doesn't matter what I'm thinking. What it comes down to is how I feel inside. And if I say, right, am I going to be brave? Am I going to just step up and do something I've never done before? Like when I did hypnosis, I said, when I first hypnotized someone, are you hypnotized? The worst thing you can do when you're hypnotizing someone, because you have to be confident when you're doing it. So have just 3 words. That's what I can recommend. That is step 5. Have 3 words and make this your mantra. And I did this with everyone. I did it with Chloe. I did it with my sister. I did it with all my clients that I work with. I say, what are your 3 words? And I abbreviate it. So one of my clients was PSS. So I was like, just imagine it like this, just someone going, psst, psst. Like, make it silly. What was yours? Yours was PPE, wasn't it? So I was like, all right, imagine yourself wearing a hard hat. Because the way we remind ourselves, and I'm not a memory expert at all, but I listen to memory experts, and they talk about how do we remember things much easier. We just change it into a little abbreviation that we can remember. And you take yourself through, like, people that remember ridiculously long numbers. The reason they remember it is because they see certain things. So when they see a number 2, they imagine 2 laptops being thrown out of a window, because that's quite memorable. Or when they imagine 3, it's like 3 sofas falling from the sky. And the way that they create a little story in their mind, if anyone's ever done any memory work, they create a little story in their mind. So they're walking down the road, they see 2 laptops thrown out the window. Then they see 3 sofas falling out the sky and landing on someone. And then they see 7 aliens invading Earth. Something like that. That's how we start to remember things. And 3 is a very easy number to start with. So those 3 words are going to be very easy. So just make it weird, make it creative. Find a little abbreviation. I did it with my sister the other day, and she wanted a 4th letter because we found KFC out of her words, but she's vegan. And she was like, I can't have that. And I was like, okay, what would you want? She was like, well, if we had a U, it could spell. And I was like, true, it could. I was like, I'll tell you what, just because you're my sister, I'll give you the 4th letter. And so I said, whenever you hear that word, you are now going to feel, and I can't remember what it was free, unapologetic, courageous, and kind. And at the start, she couldn't actually get those words out because those words together, they're very difficult words to say. They don't work in a sentence. But then I messaged her the next day after doing it. I was like, what does stand for? She was like, free, unapologetic, courageous, and kind. I was like, there you go. And the more you just remind yourself something silly, whenever it's silly, then it just starts to twist in your mind, and you're like, oh, I'm going to remember that. Whenever anyone says that word, she's now going to be like, oh, that's it, I'm feeling free, unapologetic, courageous, and kind. So that is step number 5. Step number 6 is a post-hypnotic suggestion. And this really is, whenever I combat the problem, I will do the solution. So where I said about know a solution, whenever something happens, how do you want to act? And then this is where you're going to be so conscious of it, so aware of it. And the way that we do this, there's a part of our mind called the reticular activating system. It's in the brain, it's the RAS for short. And effectively what happens is, have you ever wanted a new car, or you wanted a pair of shoes, or you wanted a new phone, or you wanted a new watch, or whatever it was, and then you just start to see it everywhere? And for example, me and Chloe were talking about getting one of those camper vans and like sort of like traveling the country and whatever. Today I've seen so many camper vans. I've seen so many vans that you can convert. Now, naturally those vans are already there. They're already there in the world. My mind's just not focused on them. So when we actually start to focus our mind on it, we start to see it more often. If you want a red Mercedes, all you start to see around you is red Mercedes. You're like, but those red Mercedes were always there. So it's not that they weren't there, it's the mind was never focused on them enough. When you start to sit, and then you start to see it, and a great example is, does anyone know what a carabiner is? Yeah, you know what a carabiner is? Yeah, a little clip. I didn't know that, and I've used them many times before. They're like a little clip, like a little gorilla clip, I think, if you can explain. And they pop out, and then you can hook it around something, and it locks itself in place. It's a very hard description. I don't know how to explain a carabiner. Just Google it if you want to know what a carabiner is. But I never knew what it was. And then everyone was telling me about it. And then the next day, I saw a video on TikTok, and it was like, this guy just opened a box with, he was like, oh, I use a carabiner to open this box. I was like, when has anyone ever used a carabiner to open a box? But it was always, things like that are always there. Our mind is now focused on it. And when we start to focus our mind on something, whenever this happens, I will do a solution. Then we can start to do these different actions in our life. And what it comes down to is there's only 2 things we can actually control. I can't control if you guys are going to like what I'm saying today. But what I can control is my thoughts towards it, to say, tell you what, I'm going to talk about what I know. I'm going to talk about what's changed my life. I'm going to talk about what's changed many other people's, like millions of people, not me, but millions of people across the world have changed their life through self-hypnosis. So it's not a 100% truth for everyone. It's a truth for me, and it's a truth for millions of other people. But it allows me to realize when I combat this problem, I will do the solution. When I naturally focus and think about when I would come up here usually, or before, years ago, I would feel like I would see people's faces and feel like they're laughing at me, feel like they're staring at me, feel like they're going to say something negative towards me. But now, if you guys don't like it, you don't like it. I can't tell you to like it. I can't tell you to like his hat. I can't tell you to like his hat. You might like his hat, you might like his hat. You might prefer a black hat, you may prefer a white hat. I don't know. There's no right or wrong answer. But really understand that you need to just be crystal clear on how you want to act when the problem occurs. When I come up here, I'm just going to think, you know what? I'm going to do what I do. I'm going to say what I say. Some people will like it, some people won't. Some people think I'm weird, some people won't. Some people think I'm great. Some people might bow down to me. I don't know. Maybe. Probably not. But that's not within my control. All I can control is my thoughts towards it and my actions. I could sit here and be really nervous. Or I could read up on how to be a confident speaker to present something that you guys actually enjoy, actually want to listen to. Maybe you don't, maybe you do, I don't know. But like I said, I can't control the outcome. What I can control is how I act towards it and how I think about it. So realizing once we take that into consideration, say, do you know what, I'm just going to go for this job. I'm going to ask that person out. And I watched a guy on TikTok, and he was one of those guys that just walks up to girls, videos himself walking up to girls, asking them out on dates, and he says he's a player and all this kind of stuff, and I'm just like, it's a bit weird. But he believes, his belief behind it was, well, what's the worst that can happen? I can just move on to another girl. So it's a bit of a weird way to think about it, but whatever floats your boat, everyone's different. And if it makes him happy, it makes him happy. If he treats girls wrong, then his karma will come back round. But I truly believe that once we just feel that way towards things, like, what is the worst that can happen? What is the worst that can happen if I go for a run? So, people might laugh at me. People are more focused on themselves. And I said to one of my clients, she was so scared about what people thought about her. If anyone worries about what people thinks about them, if you're ever driving, just sit in the car with the windows up, turn the music on full blast, and just start singing. People will naturally look at you and they'll be like, either there'll be one of two things. One going, they are a freak. Or the other person going, they are such a vibe, I would love to hang out with them. Now, who's wrong or who's right? No one's wrong and right. But what is their opinion is, like I said, is their opinion. So that is something I recommend some people to do. If you're worried about what people think, just go and do something that's a little bit more safe. You're in your car, you've got the doors locked, nothing bad's gonna happen. People might laugh, people might enjoy it. And she said to me, my client that I was working with, she said, that was one of the greatest things because she lived in Manchester. And she said, it was rush hour, people are screaming and shouting at each other, beeping the horns, getting pissed off, getting all wound up with everyone. And she's singing away to this song. She said these two schoolgirls walked past and started dancing and singing in. This man that was screaming looked at her and just couldn't be angry anymore. She was like, it was the greatest. She's like, I'm going to do it every traffic light stop. So I'm going to do it because he was so angry, sitting there, face like a slap ass like that. Why is it beeping his horn? And she's dancing along and he's like, yeah, you know what, you're funny. Had a conversation with her. She said that could have changed his day. He could have been so angry at someone. He could have gone home and, like, you never know what happens in people's lives. Like, some people, you look at them on the outside, they're smiling. On the inside, they're like literally crying and they're feeling so much pain. He could have gone home that day and been like, you know what, there is people in the world that just don't take themselves so seriously. Why do I take myself so seriously? That one little action can have such a massive knock-on effect. Like, for all I know, someone here today could watch some of my videos after this. Highly recommend you do it. Great stuff. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube as well. But someone could come here and watch my videos and think, you know what, I want to become a hypnotist. That's how I did it. I watch people like Darren Brown. There's people that I look at. I look at the personal development space. Tony Robbins, if anyone knows him. I watched one of his videos. I was like, this man is incredible. Some people hate him. Some people think he's too full on. I think he's great. I love that he's just like one of those massive friendly giants that is just like, I want people to be great, but he's standing there, you look at him, you be like, all right, Tony, he's just enormous. Especially for me, because I'm tiny. But you look up to people and you see those things, and if something like that can have a knock-on effect for someone to become a hypnotist, they could go and change millions of people's lives. I don't know. I know Tony Robbins doesn't even know me, he's never even heard of me. Maybe one day, hopefully one day, that's my goal, I want to work on stage with him. One day that could be a truth, but he doesn't know that one of his videos one day changed my life because I was like, right, that's it. Why am I complaining about stuff I've got in my life? I was like, yes, I've got no money, yes, I've got no job, yes, I'm anxious, I'm depressed, I'm all of this. But why can't I change? Because it's been done before. And that's why I like to make these changes in people's lives. If I can make that shift, then that just fills my heart with joy. Do you know what I mean? That's what I want to do. So step number 6 is just realizing, just to reiterate that, is when I come across the problem, I need to do the solution. When I come up here and speak, where I used to get all anxious and panicky, I just need to take myself through a process of breathing, relaxing myself. How do I relax? You breathe. When you go to bed, you're not sitting there going, you're not sitting there with your eyes open, you're closing your eyes and you're actively trying to relax and get yourself, that's how you do it. And I always say this to people, has anyone here got a degree in psychology or anything like that? You have, okay, perfect. So some people do, some people don't. If I'm sitting like this at a party and you see me, or I'm sitting up here, how would everyone assume that I'm feeling? Exactly. You don't need a degree to understand how someone's feeling. If I'm sitting up here, or I'm standing up and I'm feeling, I'm standing here being really confident with my hands out, looking at everyone, most people would say I'm feeling more confident. We don't need a degree to know that. We don't need to. We just need to look at people. We can assess that. So just assess ourselves on a daily basis. When I walk into places, am I walking in hunched over? My heart center is literally closed off. I'm feeling like I'm sort of like hermit crabbed up. Versus you look at someone confident. Does anyone know what a power pose is? Yeah, so they did study over in, can't remember the name of the university, can't remember the lady either. It's really bad. But basically power poses are, so if anyone knows what the Superman pose or Superwoman pose, standing like that, you start to release more testosterone into your body. It's something like 20% more if you do that for 2 minutes. So if you want to take action on something, does it make sense to sit there and go, oh, should I do that? Should I do it? Or do you want to actually get yourself hyped up and like even just standing up, or getting yourself sort of moving around, getting yourself all hyped up? You'll start to feel more testosterone to go and take action. It's like they say, will you take action if you're feeling a bit glum and gloomy? Will you take action if you're standing there, you're saying, I'm going to do this? You start to convince yourself, you start to hype yourself up, you start to listen to powerful music versus listening to like a bit of piano music that's just like really, really sad. And which one of you is going to take more action? It's the person that's getting themselves into that hype state. So that's what I always recommend when you come out of hypnosis. When you come out of a meditation, hypnosis, self-hypnosis, whatever it is, when you get out of that place, fill your mind with something educational, fill your mind with something motivational. I always do this every single morning. So there's a little hack. If you don't take anything away from this today, other than this one thing, every morning and every evening, you're very suggestible. If you can listen to something motivational, listen to something inspirational about the fact that you can change your life. I'm not saying you have to change your life tomorrow, but the fact you can, your mind starts to accept it. Again, like I said, it starts to accept that you can change your life, that it's possible. And that's what it really comes down to. And then this seventh step is just allowing yourself to come back around and bring yourself back around. A lot of people say, can you get stuck in hypnosis? The answer is no. Can you get stuck in sleep? It's the exact same as that. And hypnosis isn't sleep, but eventually you will wake up. If for whatever reason you're very tired and you get hypnotized, I've only ever had one person fall asleep on me in hypnosis, and it was over Zoom as well, so I'm sitting there waiting for them to wake up. And I was sitting there for a very long time, just like, Josh, you can come back around whenever. Just trying to get his subconscious mind to accept it. Eventually he came back around. And it took another 10 minutes. So the worst thing that's going to happen is you're just going to, like you're waking up. So if you're doing this in the morning and you want to gain that energy back, there's something called a flutter breath. I don't know if anyone's familiar with breathing exercise. Anyone done any breathing exercise or breath work before? Yeah? Yeah. If anyone's done any breath work before, then there's all these different breathing techniques that you can do that can allow you to bring more energy to your body. And there's something called the flutter breath. And it looks funny, you might laugh, but it's basically breathing as many times as you can through your nose in a second. So it's literally going, and you can feel your stomach going in and out really fast. And if you do that, your body just starts to wake up. Versus if you go, you start to slouch down, your body starts to relax. So if you want to wake up in the morning, you're doing this self-hypnosis process, you can take yourself through that process, do something like the flutter breath. So if anyone wants to do it, you can search it up on YouTube. There might even be a video on my YouTube of how to do it. But that's what I always say, once you come out of it, something inspirational, educational, something you want to learn, something you want to create, you want to become in your life, start to listen to that. And then just do some sort of breathing. So just a quick rundown just before we finish, we've got about 5 minutes left. Step 1 was identify the problem or concern. Step 2 was do an induction. So like I said, roll your eyes up, create those alpha brain waves, or focus on something until your eyes just feel like they want to blink, until they just want to close. Like I said, convincing yourself that your eyes are going to close. And then, like I said, you can tense your body up to deepen yourself into hypnosis or relaxation, and then relax even more. That's what I do when I do it with people online over Zoom. You get the exact same results on Zoom as I do with someone if I do it in person. Step number 3, assess, address, and understand the situation. Try and find wisdom. What can I learn from what happened? What can I learn from when I ate that apple? I could learn, don't eat cooking apples. Eat the red apples. Don't eat the green apples. I'm vegan as well, but you wouldn't eat raw chicken. You only eat cooked chicken. You make sure that it's cooked because maybe you've had an experience. One of the reasons I went vegan was because I had really bad food poisoning from chicken. So naturally, when I saw chicken, it just made me feel sick. And I was like, I can't eat that anymore. And for me, it was a good thing, and I enjoy it. Step number 4 was know a solution, and imagine yourself doing this, acting this out every day for 30 days. Create your 3 words. Step number 5, find those 3 words, just remember those 3 words. And every day just ask yourself, am I living from my hard hat? Am I living from the alphabet? That's what I say to myself, am I living from the alphabet? And then step number 6, have some post-hypnotic suggestions. And like I said, step number 7, just come back around, bring yourself back around. And while you're in that suggestible state of mind, feed it with something inspirational, motivational, educational, something that's actually going to help you rather than just going on social media. Because you can check out the pictures of your friends, you can check out the pictures of yourself, you can take a picture of yourself, you can take a picture of yourself eating your cereal. You can do that, but just give yourself like a 30-minute window, an hour window that is dedicated for you in the morning. And if I would have looked at myself 5 years ago, I meditate twice a day. If I would look at myself 5 years ago and said I'd be vegan, I'd meditate twice a day, and I would not be taking drugs, I would have laughed in your face and, I don't know, probably tried to start a fight with you. I probably would have. I was just a bit prick, I was, if I'm honest. But now I look at myself and I'm like, you don't meditate. Like, I used to think people were a bit woo-woo if they meditated. I was like, you don't meditate. I was like, you're crazy. You need to do it. I was like, this sorts me out. This gets me through my day. If I didn't do it, I'd be a psycho. But if anyone does have any questions for me, please do ask me at the end. I think they said they wanted to end now. Please do ask me. I can connect you in the right way. I can take you on the self-hypnosis challenge that you can use in your life, that you can actually just start to make these shifts again for completely free. You can just take the challenge on YouTube and just start to really create your future. Like I said, once Napoleon Hill said it, once you can see it in your mind, eventually you can hold it in your hand. If you believe that you can one day be the best runner that you can be, it's possible. but I don't like to compare myself to other people. I like to compare myself to who I was yesterday. I used to sniff cocaine 5 times a week. I'm in a pretty good place. When I start to get to those days where I'm like, you know what, Max, you're not doing enough. You should be further ahead. You should be doing this. You should be doing that. It's like, think about where you've come from. Like, think about what you've done in your past. And if you don't have anything that you can aspire to do right now, think of someone you look up to and say, what would it be like if I was like them? You look at all these people, these famous people, what would it be like if I was like them? There's people that I love. I don't know if anyone's familiar with Joe Dispenza. He's incredible. I always look at him, I'm like, what would it be like if I was doing what he's doing? I want to run retreats in Bali. That's my goal. I've never run a retreat. But I look at other people that have done it and I'm like, that could be possible for me. Why couldn't it be possible? If it fails, the first one, it fails. But eventually, I'll be able to do that. So yeah, if anyone does have any questions, please do ask me. I think, like you said, you want to end now. But you can come up to me and ask me, or I can give you my social media and you can ask me privately as well.
Thank you.